Thank you for coming in, Broomhilda. My best to the coven. Greetings. Welcome to Monster Mash Party Planning Service. My name is Twyla. How can I assist you today? Are you here to purchase some supplies, or do you need a consultation for your party? Of course, I would be happy to consult with you. Please, take a seat. So tell me, what type of party are you planning on hosting? A Halloween party? Excellent. And who will you be inviting? I see. So you plan on inviting a variety of mystical creatures? Well, you've come to the right place. As you may know, that is our specialty here. We help hosts, such as yourself, take into consideration all the special characteristics of your attendees to ensure that you do not offend anyone during your party and that your guests leave happy. Now, in order for me to assist you, I need to know exactly who is attending your party. So if you wouldn't mind, let's go down the guest list. Will you have any witches at your party? Oh yes, I know the Sanderson sisters well. They do love a party, don't they? Now, you won't have any children attending your event, will you? That's good. May I suggest no karaoke at your event? The Sanderson sisters like to use their singing voices for nefarious purposes. You understand, of course. Do you plan on inviting any other witches? Oh, it's good to hear Sally is still attending mystical events, even after supposedly settling down to a more normal life. I trust her sister Jilly will be there? Perfect. She always gets the party going. How about any werewolves? Okay. May I suggest not hosting the event during a full moon? Perfect. You already thought of that. How about vampires? Are you inviting any vampires? Oh, good. Yes, Dracula is actually a good friend of mine. He gets a bad rap. I think he likes to keep it that way. Sort of seem mysterious, but he's a pretty chill dude when you get to know him. Are you planning on inviting any vampires from the Underworld clan? Good. That will prevent any complications or conflicts with the werewolves at your party. Let's see. Are you planning on any undead characters making an appearance? Okay, a few zombies. Is Sheila bringing Joel? Joel's a sweet man. Any mummies? You're not sure if they'll be able to wrap up in time? Okay. Oh, good. You're inviting Frank. You know, I introduced him to his bride. Will she be attending too? Now, I recommend instructing your guest not to call him the monster, or even worse, Frankenstein. As you know, that was the name of his creator. Frank is his chosen name. Now, in terms of the zombies, you shouldn't have any issues, provided you keep the human guest away from them. I would recommend providing sustenance for them in an alternative location. We can go through this more when we go through your dining menu. All right. How about any ghosts or spirits? Do you plan on inviting Casper? Such a sweet kid. His uncles aren't coming, are they? Good. They can ruin a party. Trust me. How about any sprites? You're inviting some fairies? Okay. Some friendly advice. I know this may sound a bit stereotypical, but I do like to warn hosts to put away any shiny, valuable items before the fairies visit. I wouldn't go as far as to say that they'll steal them, but oftentimes fairies like to pick up shiny objects to admire them and then forget to return them. If you leave some milk and honey out on your hors d'oeuvre table, I'm sure that will keep them satisfied. Let's see. Are you planning on inviting any gnomes? Any trolls? Any other creatures you're planning on inviting? Okay. The Scooby Gang? Excellent. Jack Skeleton? Oh, the creature from the Black Lagoon. Do you have a lake or a swimming pool nearby in case he needs to take a quick dip? Excellent. You seem to have thought of everything. Now, there are a few creatures you mentioned that I want to give you fair warning about. The first is your guest, Beetlejuice. He can be a bit of a salesman when it comes to inviting humans to hire him to be their bioexorcist. And the ghost or the spirits may be offended by that. So I recommend keeping Beetlejuice away from your human guest. Yeah, encourage him to interact with the zombies and the other undead. That will keep him occupied. Now, the other guest you mentioned is the Invisible Man. Be forewarned, he can be a bit of a rascal. He likes to play tricks on people, stealing their drinks, blowing in their ears, kid stuff. So I would require him to wear clothes at all time, so you can track his movements. Okay, well, you have a pretty good list here. The most important thing to remember when hosting a Monster Mash is to have enough events in different corners of the house to keep them occupied. Magical creatures often get restless at a party, which can sometimes lead to in-group bickering, and that's not what you want. Do you have a yard or a deck? I would recommend setting a table up outside with some significant refreshments for your undead groups. Uncooked meats are often their favorite. The benefits of keeping their refreshments outside is it keeps the flies from entering your home, and it keeps them socializing outside with their own kind instead of meeting humans and being tempted to feast on them. Now you're inviting some good souls, and they don't mean humans any harm, but oftentimes they can't help those urges. Imagine you're starving and a large bowl of ice cream walks over to you and introduces themselves as Jerry, well, I'd bet you'd be tempted to eat him as well. Now for the witches, I often recommend leaving out a few items for them. Some tarot cards, a wand or two. They often like to talk shop with each other and demonstrate their powers for the humans. Many of them are also excellent cooks, so if you can ask them for help in the kitchen, that will save you some time. Speaking of help, have you secured any staff that will help you serve the food and host the event? It's a lot for one person to keep up with. May I recommend calling up the Addams family and asking them if you could borrow Lurch for the evening. He's a bit grumpy and shy, but he's an excellent butler. They may even be able to lend you things to help you clean up after the party. And you will need help with the after-party cleanup. Ghosts can leave quite a mess on the floor. They often love to eat, but forget that the food goes right through them. Now, as I mentioned before, vampires and werewolves don't always get along. And if you leave them unattended, it may dissolve into screaming matches. Centuries of rivalry are hard to live down. But from the list you gave me, this shouldn't be too much of a problem. I can imagine Dracula will be busy wooing your human guest, and the werewolves tend to like to hang out outside, so you should be fine. Now, when it comes to providing foods indoors, I recommend asking your guests what their favorite foods are and what allergies they have. Oftentimes we assume what creatures like to eat based on the stereotype, but not all vampires enjoy blood, for example. So talk with your guest and try to find a few items that they share in common. I recommend serving cocktails and hors d'oeuvres instead of a full sit-down meal. This encourages your guests to mingle, and they won't have to sit across from someone that they may not get along with. Any questions so far? Entertainment? Let's talk about that. The good news is that magical creatures often provide more than enough entertainment on their own. I can imagine that the witches will put on spell demonstrations, that some of the creatures will engage in dance competitions, even wand-offs. It's natural that the magical creatures will want to put on a show for your human guest. However, having some contingency plans in case the party grows stale will be useful. Perhaps offering a photo op in a nearby cemetery. The creatures can take photos with their favorite tombstones, or even their own, if there are plots in that cemetery. Or perhaps you can host a bobbing for eyeballs game, or you can tell spooky stories around the campfire and provide some s'mores. Trust me, the Scooby Gang will have some excellent stories to share. Any other questions? The decorations, yes. I recommend keeping the decorations gothic and respectful. Vampires often prefer low lighting and candles, witches appreciate that as well. I trust you plan on hosting this event after the sun goes down? Good. The main thing you should avoid in your decorations is creature appropriation. So don't have fake spider webs or fake animals. You can put pumpkins around, but I wouldn't carve them into jack-o'-lanterns. That can offend Jack, Also, don't put up any pictures of witches with green skin or zombie pictures. They often portray your guest in unfavorable lights. So just keep the decorations simple and you'll do fine. If you're interested, we have a wide variety of decorations in our store. You can pick up some tasteful pumpkins, some gothic decor, some candles on your way out. So I see that we've gone over the guest list, some recommendations about decorations and entertainment. I didn't talk to you about cocktails, so be advised, some of your party guests are pretty heavy drinkers, so I would recommend, for cost and convenience, sticking with easy-to-create drinks that could be made ahead of time instead of complicated martinis or specialty cocktails that need to be made to order. I recommend creating a fruity sangria that can be stored in the refrigerator and taken out when the guests arrive. I also recommend a few bottles of wine. I know Dracula loves red wine, and Frank likes white. You should also have some non-alcoholic drinks, such as apple cider, and lots of water for the creature from the Black Lagoon. I'm sorry, I don't know what his name is. Anytime I've met him, we've spoken through gestures and not words. Is there anything else you're concerned about or you would like advice on? The music. Wonderful question. Again, I would recommend something fairly simple, maybe some organ music, some gothic instrumental music. Just nothing that would spark the Sanderson sisters to sing. Any other questions? Do you feel prepared then to host this party? Wonderful. You will do great. Remember, it's a monster mash. It's supposed to be fun. Okay, well, best of luck. Enjoy your party. And if you ever need advice again on how to host a monster mash in the future, you know where to come. Goodbye.